Hello and happy 2022. I wish to apologize because I thought I would be able to do this live stream on January 2nd, but it got way too busy. So welcome now to 2022, what Mark calls the year of truth. 10 years ago in 2012, Mark channeled that the next big year, as if 2012 wasn't big enough, would be in 2022. Make sure everyone's muted, please. Um, so we are stepping into it now. Just this amazing high frequencies that give us much opportunity to change, but also much disruption. So I want to read to start out what Mark channeled in the fall about what's coming up. Uh, and then we'll talk about really how we need to be the best, what awareness we need to make the most of this year and this month, because this is my January update, which is preparing deeply for change. And I know we've been preparing forever, but we have to go deeper and deeper. So this is what Mark said a few months ago about now. He said, the darkest clouds that have shielded you from the great central sun, from the spiritual core of your awakening, have moved away from the earth. Those clouds slowed your growth, but they also protected you from the intensity of change, for which you were not ready. Humanity has first been kept in an incubator where it's safe, then in a nursery, then in a school, where you have had protection from the intensity of change that adulthood brings. Now humanity is moving into its emancipation into freedom. In this time, the clouds, which were sometimes threatening, but of course protective, go away. The speed of change moves to what is the natural speed of change in the high frequency universe. Humanity has proven itself on an individual basis. This allows holy beings in from other dimensions and star systems who had to stay apart from us before. They are working with the consciousness of humanity to begin harmonizing these higher frequencies. So some of the specifics that Mark said these frequencies will bring, he said there'll continue to be major climatic changes. There'll be many people who choose to leave the earth. He actually gave a window of that, and he was very specific, which is unusual. He said that until March 15th, there's a great opening and portal between our world and the next, so that if people want to transition, this is a smooth time. He said the virus will continue strongly for another year and a half. It's not likely to be shorter. There will continue to be major repercussions in economies and in the flow of migrations of people. There may be tumbles in currencies. He said the fear in people will get stronger until individual beings realize that fear is not a reaction to the outside world, but a choice. In that choice, fear will turn to power. Power does not come from changing that which you fear. I'm going to read that again because we all want to change the external world. Power does not come from changing that which you fear. The salvation of earth will not come from ETs or inner earth beings because it cannot. The surface of earth was seeded and given to humanity. Humanity's awakening is primary. As humanity awakens, then beings from the higher dimensions will be called upon to interact. The awakening is caused by humanity and cannot be caused outside humanity. So remember that we're not victims of all this. We've grown into our emancipation, and now we're causing the things that adulthood need to cause. He said, as things get jarred up, there will be an increasing resurrection of kindness, of humanity, irrespective of beliefs, because the core of humanity was seeded as good. The core seed is being fed by the higher frequencies. Goodness cannot and will not be extinguished, no matter the external physical plights. He said, the essence of people who are drawn to spiritual work is the purity of your curiosity and your inner drive. You couldn't do it any other way. Please never look upon spiritual work as a salvation for fear. Your identification with fear must be disentangled from outside cause. As you grow spiritually, your identity becomes rooted in eternity. In eternity, there's a sense of safety, of endless goodness and kindness. All the beings who have waited for you to get through the door are ready to bring miracles, breakthroughs, and unprecedented holiness. The birth process is difficult, but the birth is assured. So let's really talk about the opportunity here is to shift our identification from our temporal world to our eternal self. And, we've often talked about there'll be a bifurcation of good and evil. The light people will go to heaven and the dark people won't, whatever. But it's not that simple. It's a separation, yes, of those that are simply in the physical world, simply in time, temporal, and the choice to move to knowing ourselves as eternal, as allness, as oneness, as light. As we shift our ID, because right now we're usually in this physical world and we go visit the higher worlds. But as we switch our ID to the higher worlds, everything changes. We realize that the scripts we've taken on in the lower world are just scripts of an actor or actress. We are not those things. And because we can get off the ramp of karma, of just time, we really can leave karma behind. In the past, we've been trying to balance it, trying to balance the bad we've ever done with the good, and the pain we've ever caused with being compassionate. And there comes a point where we don't even balance karma anymore. We simply leave it. And as Mark said, there's an off ramp to karma right now. This year is a purging fire. I don't see it as an easy year. But the alchemy of that fire creates unprecedented changes. And we're in charge. We're not victims. It's really an opportunity to take a leap outside of who we've always been. So I had a little experience like this, and I want to see if I can explain it to you. One morning I was doing my prayers. This was just a few weeks ago. And I just said to myself, I am light. And the picture I got was me as Jonette being filled with light and radiance. And that was comforting and nice. But then I said it again. And in between the first time I said it and the second time, I shifted. The second time I said, I am light. But it might have been better if I said, light, I am. I moved from the identification of me being light in the temporal world, in the physical world, to light, and I was that. So if you can understand, that's the change we need to make. And we're calling this the year of truth. And I know people are saying, yes, finally we'll get the truth. We'll get the truth from the government, the secret societies, about the viruses, about the vaccines. It's not that truth. It's the truth of who you are. Your eternal magnificence. That comes first. We used to say, the truth shall set you free. And I think it's more like, you shall set the truth free. We need to start with us, claiming our eternal truth, our grandness, our greatness, our magnificence in every way. Um, Own it, accept it, proclaim it, be it, uh, because it's that part that we really are that's calling us home and that will change the world. We've got a couple choices in making change. We can make it out of pain and suffering, which is usually our last resort, but it's usually the way we do it, or in joy. And when I'm talking about deep change, it's because these high frequencies of 2022, and just to digress a moment, the twos in 2022, two is a feminine number. So it's like we're switching over to the allness, the compassion of the feminine aspect, in contrast to the masculine aspect. So all these frequencies are pushing us to change. And we know when we need to make a change, it's most important to be nimble, to be flexible. If we pack up all our garbage and move it to the next home, the next beingness, the next city, we haven't changed at all. In fact, I was reading something by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he was talking about how difficult it is to change. And he said 90%, and I think that's generous, but he said 90% of the thoughts you have today were exactly the same thoughts you had yesterday. And I would imagine it's higher than 90%. And I don't think I'm unusual. I think the same things based on the same premises. So rather than packing up all our old stuff. So here's our old self, and we go through a void, which is now, to our new self. And rather than trying to pack up everything from our old self and fit it through the void into the new self, it'll never work. So this is very much a time of clearing things that you think are hardwired in you. Um, Choices that you've made that have given you this life so far, and they're hardwired in you because we've decided that there is no other choice. That's just the way it is, or that's just the way we are. I invite you, with the help of these energies now that are flooding in, to make deep changes in what seems to be irreconcilable, um, that you can have this and that. So I don't even know how to say it. Um, I'll tell you how I worked on it this week with a friend. I wrote some statements that I would like this and that. And she had me just sit with the statement, and I could feel, and I'll tell you what it is. I want I want to write a Mark book, but I put it off for years and years and years because I think it's going to disrupt my whole life. So obviously, I'm never going to start the book because I've already decided it's too disruptive. So I just looked at those two statements that I have held in opposition, and I just felt into it. I didn't do anything. I sat with it and felt like, oh, the issue isn't writing the book. The issue is my fear that it's going to be too much work. And so I just sat with that until it's like it felt it melted. And I had this space to say, oh, could I possibly write a book and not have it disrupt anything? That was a possibility I haven't even considered. You know, our old self is self protective. It's going to blame, it's going to put responsibility everywhere else. It's going to be in self pity. It's going to be unworthy. It's going to be not ready yet, wondering what people will say. All of that isn't you, it isn't me. It's just our programming. So I invite you this year, at the beginning of this year, to spend more time in the void where you're not deciding what the future will bring, because right now you'll decide based on the old. You will envision not pictures, but energies, frequencies, joy, love, happiness. Begin to embody all of that now, irrespective of how it's caused, because we want to get beyond cause and effect. As Mark has always said, we want uncaused well being. So, as we step into our truth, the higher frequencies will serve us. And as we make the first step, the guides are ready to open the doors of change, of miracles. You'll see it as synchronicity. You'll see it as coincidences. You'll see it as magic. You will see it. And I guess the three things um, to summarize all of this is use your imagination for a vision and let the vision not be too specific. Let the vision be of greatness, of embodying who you really are so that humanity can embody who it really is. Number two, after the vision and what the vision does, it's not even so important what it is. What's important is it isn't what you're coming from. We usually spend our time envisioning what we don't want. So the vision can be anything else that's looking forward rather than from the past. So the second is flexibility, lightness, being nimble, noticing the thoughts, the reactions, the baggage, the this is the way I am, this is the way you are, this is the way the world is. All that we carry. And see if every day we can each cut more and more away of that baggage so that we have room to ascend. And the third point, after flexibility, vision, flexibility, is kindness. Kindness is love in action. And of course, it's kindness to ourself. So that's what I see. And it maybe will transmit a little bit. These updates, I'm not doing so much transmissions, but let me tell you what's coming up to support us in this massive change that is unknown. The guides won't say anything else about what this is bringing. My next Facebook Live will be February 6th, Sunday at this same time, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Also, I do monthly meditations that are based on the energy of each month. And it's a theme. This year's theme, 2022's theme, is Ascension School. Ascension School. And the first meditation I just recorded is called, because it's a year of truth, the Sword of Truth, where we really illuminate our truth and cut away that which isn't. And these are meditations, so they take you to actually do this with the energy of doing this. So those monthly meditations will go on every month, a different topic in Ascension School. I don't think those are up on our website yet. Give us till Wednesday. Look in our store under monthly meditation subscription, Ascension School. And it is a subscription, so they come every month. You can cancel it. The other thing that will be initiations for this springtime is our trilogy of initiations. The topic is recreation. Could call it recreation too, couldn't we? Which is a nice turn of it. Um, just to help us in this vortex of change, because the outside is rough, it's tumultuous. But if we can find that sweet spot in the center of the vortex, then change is just a natural upliftment. So there'll be three initiations. They're going to be channeled from the cosmic grandmothers. These are beings who've begun coming to me. They don't say much, they're just about energy. The first one is going to be on a powerful day. That's where we always have these trilogies. February 22nd, 2022. All those twos make that day, and it's a Tuesday. Cute, huh? Tuesday. February 22nd will be our first initiation in the recreation series. It's a 12. All those twos make up a 12. A 12 is a completion of a cycle, the completion of a year. The Peruvians, the ancient Andeans, believed that there were 12 sun disks. And when these 12 sun disks are awakened, then the 13th is just a blasting open, and the 12 become one. And the 13 is the one of the 12. I believe that this year is the trajectory is already set. We are already in the void. So there's no choice to go back to the old world. So the next, so we'll have 3 activations over the next 5 months. I think the last one's going to be in May. The other thing that I'm doing to help support you, obviously, is the ongoing Mark class, which topic now is alchemy. But for individual work, I'm doing a call of mastery, a 6-month program for anybody who, and I'm only taking 12 people who want to work hard to get to the, not hard, who want to be committed to massive change quickly over 6 months. So we are creating this time, and it's time to really step into the truth of who you are. You are not this small self. You are not these karmic revolutions only. You are a grand eternal being with spiritual powers beyond our knowing, beyond our recognizing. And together we're treading through those spiritual powers. We're opening them up. And please see your own magnificence. But it only works if you see everybody else's as well. That we're all in this void. We're all opening the doors to what is uncreated and unknown. And we are supported. Just want to end with, I guess, a hurrah, but just a quote from Helen Keller that you've probably heard. She said, "Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Keep our faces toward change and behave like free spirits in the presence of fate is strength undefeatable." We've never been here before, and we've never been here together. And someone asked in my last Mark class, what happened to Lemuria? Because it seemed like Lemuria had everything going for it, and what happened that it didn't? And Mark's answer, which explains what's different now, he said Lemuria didn't continue in its upward progression of enlightenment because it was part of a cosmos that was still in conflict, galaxies that were still fighting, star systems that were still at war. He said, what's different now is the changes we are making are reverberating through the cosmos and will change the galaxies, the whole trajectory of war. What we are doing is essential, and we are the perfect ones to do it. You, exactly you, who you are. So enjoy your magnificence, cut away all those things that aren't you, and thank you so much for your dedication. We're going to rock this year. Thank you.